What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes catching up with one of the legends of our sport. It's Big John McCarthy, former rep. Oh, no longer a former rep. He's coming back, folks. John,
Against everyone's wishes yeah, I
what
guess
about Elaine's wishes? What did she say about this? Your better
again
half.
against everyone's wishes.
Oh, okay.
It's
Wow.
okay. It's okay.
What started the process? Well, first of all, will you be with PFL in 2026, or is that maybe what even started the process, or was this on your mind anyway?
No, it was on. It's been on my mind for a little bit, just because it's one of it's. I hear everyone give me all these things about. Oh, he wants. Now it's about money and stuff. I'm like, money? Are you kidding me? That's hysterical. I'm going back to what's not money, but it's what I love doing, and I sit here and to analyze and to try to make people understand what other guys are doing and why and stuff. It's all good, but I left. I never retired. I didn't say I retired. I said I'm leaving to take another job right now, and that's because I was screwed up. My neck was really bad. I couldn't lift my arm. Um, I had 3 operations on my neck to try to get it right. And so I looked at it and said, I can't do this the right way. And so if I can't do it the right way, there's no point in doing it. And then just at that time, Bellator with Scott Coker came in and he made me a great offer to keep me relevant and be able to stay with the sport I love. And so I took that, but I never said I was retiring. That's the best part, is I did it on purpose. I said, no, I'm not saying I'm retiring, because I always knew that, I would eventually like to try to go back if I was physically capable of doing it. And now I'm physically capable of doing it. It's a matter of, I love the active refereeing. I love, the judging and everything officiating. And it's also, the people involved with it. And there's a camaraderie and a brotherhood, with the people that are involved, that, you miss them. And you miss that contact with them. You miss going out to lunch with them before the shows, or dinner, or late dinner after and stuff. And those are the things that, that's the reason I'm going back, is I think that I can still do it. I've already done one show. Just going back in that one show, it was like I had never left. Nothing was difficult. I wasn't nervous, and I thought I might be. I really did, because it's been a while. But everything worked well, and I want to have fun in life. I don't have that much longer left, and so why not do it while I can? And if there comes that point where I'm unable to do it, or I'm not doing it to the level that I set for myself and other people should set for me too, then I'll walk away from it.
Physically, I think the show was in New Jersey. Physically, you felt good, like you could explode and stop a fight when you needed to, and there wasn't no mental jam about a rule in this state versus that state. Like, it was all on point.
It was funny because there was actually one fight. I want to say it was the last fight that I did for the evening. Had one of the most unusual knockouts I'd ever seen. An individual. In fact, they're going to be reviewing that fight here, coming for the Association of Ringside Physicians. Want to review that fight based upon what happened with it, because the guy got hit with an elbow, and I saw the elbow, but it was a downward elbow kind of thing, and it hit him right on the lower part of his right eye here. And I saw him get hit. He took 2 steps backwards, and all of a sudden he starts falling, and of course he's going to fall away from me. He starts falling, and he's going down, and it was a delayed reaction that was really weird. And his opponent, look, we tell him, hey, stop when we tell you to stop. He's going after him. And so I looked at it and said, I don't want to, but I'm going to have to run through this guy to get him off. And I did. I went right through him, and, ended up on top of him, and I say, hey, man, I'm sorry. You weren't stopping. I had to get you off of him. And he goes, oh, it's okay. Right. So everything, I had people there go, I've never seen anyone truck somebody like that. And it's like, you have to be able to do those things. And this is where I'm saying, now I know physically. See, it's all that farm stuff. I had to wrestle bulls and cows and these pigs and stuff, so they made me strong again. Not as strong as I once was, but physically I'm able to do it again. So that's the whole reason I want to do it.
Was it one of those like Goldberg WCW spears or something? Like,
Yeah,
oh,
it was kind of, me running into it, kind of like, if you look at the old like Conor McGregor when he fought Aldo and stuff, but I'm trying not to hit Conor hard or anything like that, because long ago, that was something the UFC, with when the not the Zuffa group, the Semaphore group, they liked when I would try, and I said, no, I'm going to hurt people, I can't do that. And so I tried to stay away from it. This one, I was like, I got to get this guy off of him. And sometimes you have to, physically, put yourself in a position to either be hit or stop that person from being hit, because that's your job.
what did Herb and Mike Beltran and Jason Herzog, what were their reactions? Because in a way, obviously you're the number one guy. When you left, you're the guy that created things and all that. But at the same time, will you be taking jobs away, or is it seamless bringing you back?
It's one of those guys are at a level that I'm not right now, and that's where they belong. And I've had, all Mike Beltran and Jason and Mark Goddard and Kerry Hatley and all of them, they've called me and talked to me and, talked about me coming back. And, and I called, to advise certain people of things, but, they all have welcomed me back. They're looking, I can't wait to work with you and stuff. And I can't wait to work with them. I don't want to take anyone's job. I don't want to be in any position where I'm making someone that, is in that next step to get to those levels. I'm not here to take their job. I'm here to help them. And if I can do that, if I can have fun, doing what I love and be successful and be a part of all that and help them get better with what they do, that's what I'm here for. And that's what I want to do.
I was going to turn it to Goes, but I want to ask you a follow-up. How are you not to their level, John? I mean, I know you're being humble and all, but a lot of the sport is here.
Yeah.
And then obviously your instincts, you have it all. You're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. It's not like you went away from the sport, and I'm at Extreme Couture. I don't know if you recognize, I'm in Nick's office. I know that a few times a year you're running these seminars. Why do you feel like you're level below those guys?
You have to be honest and respectful of, they've been working now for years where I wasn't. And those years, I always say that, repetitions is something that's very important for referees. And I don't have those repetitions. Now, I admit, when I went back, it felt like I had never left. And, but I know that it's like anything. You have to be out there doing it to get better and better and to see things and make the fight slow down. That the way those guys right now, they're in that position where I think they're going to see things in a probably a faster fashion than me. They may react faster than me at this moment, maybe forever. I hope not. And I hope that I can get myself back to being, that person, but I'm not here to compete with anybody but myself. I've always said that about refereeing. If you're competing with somebody else, you're a fool. You compete with yourself to be the best that you can be and do the best job. And there's always something in each fight that you can probably do better. And, you always have to be honest about that. But everyone, as far as me coming back, they've been fantastic. They've been super supportive and wanting me to come back and stuff. So I look forward to, like I said, I look forward to being there and being with them.
What would you say is the biggest adjustment to the game now that you're back? Obviously, a lot of rule changes, but the fighters themselves are a little different, right? Bigger, faster, stronger always. What do you think is going to be the biggest adjustment?
No, I think the real adjustment you have to look at is fighters are better. And I know that everyone, sits there and goes, oh, it hasn't been that. Every year you can watch in MMA and you see fighters that they become so much more complete as fighters, and they're able to do so many things. I mean, for years we would talk about a certain technique. Don't ever do that. That's not going to work in in MMA. That's not going to work in a real fight. And now you see people doing those things every show. And you have to be able to anticipate certain things and get yourself in the position to be able to see some of these attacks that some of these guys are doing. And some of the submissions are, there's just so many more in the way people set them up, and you have to stay up on that, because if you're up on that, them all, then everything is easy and it slows down for you. It's when you don't know and you're unsure, then you start to make mistakes. And so I say that, you have to know more now than ever. You have to be smarter about the game now than ever because the fighters are just better.
George, how many episodes have we done? Do you know the exact number?
3,610.
Holy shit. That's a lot.
Maybe you guys don't know that, or maybe George doesn't know this, but in that time, I have a record that I've been trying to protect. I've never sneezed during an episode. And I almost sneezed at the end of his question, dude. And that's why I had to put that camera up quick. But the streak is still going.
There you go.
I want to ask you something, John, about the switch, all right? What has to change as far as in this time away from reffing, you can kind of adopt a different role, right? You're closer to the fighters, you're talking to them face to face a lot, even media roles, all that. Does any of that have to change now that you're going back that way?
Yeah, there's things that have to change. First off, I stepped away from the podcast that I was doing with Josh Thompson, which I love doing, and Josh has been absolutely a rock star for me as far as he's the one that asked me to do it, and kind of set it up. And I just, I appreciate Josh as a friend and as a companion as far as, on the podcast itself. But I had to step away because I can't do that and do the officiating correctly, because you have to talk about people. And I'm in that position. I'm not here to talk about fighters. I'm not here to talk about fights. I'm not here to tell someone what I think they should do or not do. That's all up to them. When you're officiating, it's a different world. And so I had to step away from that. I also have to make it to where, you're still talking with fighters and everything. It's just different. You're talking about, rules and mechanics of what, I'm going to do in a given situation. If they get, in a bad situation, the things that I expected them, the things that I will say to them, what I need them to do. So I'm not going to step in and stop their fight. What I need them to do, if, they're caught in a bad position. All these things are the things that you'll still talk about, but those are about, the officiating and, the mechanics that'll occur during a fight, where before, I was talking about, what they believe they needed to do to win, and where they believe that their strengths were against their opponents. That's all different now.
John, this probably hasn't happened yet, but once you get a couple shows under your belt, do you think maybe being on the outside and observing these guys from the outside and how they respond to things, how they fight, watching it more with that commentator eye, the observer eye, do you think that will help you now going forward, being a ref and knowing these fighters a little better in situations?
I think being the commentator and being, watching every, all the big fights. Well, I don't want to say I didn't watch all the regional shows, but, if there was a bigger promotion, I was watching it because I had to do it even for the podcast. So I wasn't missing any fights. So I always say it's great to know, the fighters themselves as far as where they're strong, where they, do well in a fight, where their strengths lie compared to their opponents and stuff, because that's all information that can help you as far as how far you're going to let somebody go in the fight. Are you going to get them out of a situation, or have you seen them before be in this kind of bad situation and get themselves out? So I've always thought that was important, and I always used the ability to watch fighters and to make sure that I knew something about them. So that's really not going to change for me that much. I used to watch fights all the time anyway, so I'm still watching fights all the time. And so it's just something that you look at. It's kind of like doing homework, and the more homework you do when it comes to the fight game, and the more you know about each competitor, usually the more calm you'll be, and the more fluid you'll be within the match, and not get excited and not make a mistake based upon not knowing exactly where they're strong and what they can do.
Let me know if this is too personal, but I was just curious if you could share with us, like, what's the game plan coming back? Like, when, what kind of shows will we see you do? Since you stepped away, there's all kinds of stuff now, BKFC, all kinds of things like that, right? Boxing. When can we maybe see you in some of the shows that we saw you before, like Bellator's gone, but say
Bellator's gone,
UFC and all that? When is there like a game plan, or are you kind of playing it by ear?
I don't have a game plan for that. I can tell you I'll be doing a BKFC in California in November. I think it's November 15th, so I'm already scheduled. That one's in Palm Springs, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be doing BKFC there, and with Sean Wheelock and Chris Lytle being on the mics and stuff. So that'll be fun. I get to see them. I get to see people that I haven't been able to see for a long time. And so I have that. I have boxing in Las Vegas coming up. So I'm going to be doing boxing, kickboxing, BKFC, and MMA. So I'm going to be doing it all. It's just a matter of, when a commission assigns me and what they assign me to. And as long as, I can get there, I'll be getting there to do it.
No pillow fighting organization?
I don't think so. I'm not going to do any pillow fighting stuff.
Or Art Davies promotion where you could arm wrestle and punch.
Oh, what was that called? I can't even remember what it was called. No, that was a crazy one. He had Cal Worsham. Remember Cal Worsham?
Yeah.
He was the referee.
He almost got tossed out, right?
He almost got tossed out by Tank.
Yeah.
Cal Worsham was his referee for that thing. That was great.
Wow. Okay, so since you never retired, the licenses are intact. You can basically ref anywhere. If the commission needs you for a UFC, you're good to go.
I don't have a license anywhere, but I have been relicensed in several states already, California and Nevada being a couple. And I'll be looking to get, a couple more places. I'm not going to go everywhere. I'm not going to international really doesn't have the flavor of the day for me because it's a long flight and it's like, but if it comes down to it and it's the right thing to do, and then I'll do it. But for the most part, I'd like to stay in the States.
Got it. All right. So my final questions are, CBS and Paramount are going to be now with us for the next 8 years, I think, or 7 years.
7 years.
Whatever that contract is with the UFC. Was there ever any communications? I'm a dot connector, right? And because of Bellator, I had wondered, remember we brought this up to you once, rules analyst. CBS in football, if there's a controversy where the referee has to, go and take a look at the replay or whatever, they do it. But a lot of retired referees are now big parts of the broadcast team who can basically kind of give us the feel of what the ref is going to decide, clear things up. And you said that was something you were interested. When they came on board, was that ever in play? Did you have any people on that side that liked it because of CBS football and your ability to tell the audience what the options are while they've stopped a fight for injury or foul or whatever?
You're saying, did CBS like that?
Yeah. Or was there ever a possibility once they came on board where that could have been an option?
No. The UFC has got a contract that you got to figure CBS was owned by Viacom, and then what's the Sky Park, I want to say, or something like that, is the new owners. And so, there's been a complete switch of the ownership for a lot of the Viacom that used to have Bellator and stuff. But, the UFC's got their people and they're not going to be interested in me, and that's absolutely okay. I have no problem with it. But, they have a fantastic crew that does their, commentary and stuff. And they use Dean Thomas a lot kind of as the coach, but they don't really have anyone for the rules thing. And I don't think they're looking to have that either. Because
sometimes they've sent it to Mark Ratner and he's done it, but he can't.
Yeah, Mark doesn't like to do that either. Exactly. I know. And but and Mark is just a wonderful human being as far as, he likes to stay behind the scenes, and he's very, he's really smart about saying, where he thinks he's good and where, he's uncomfortable. And if he's uncomfortable being on the mic, he shouldn't have to do that. They did that to him for a little bit, but I think they just decided, we don't need it. And so
because the commentators even come clean, and sometimes they're at a loss. And so I think
that's true.
It makes the broadcast look even sharper when there isn't 2 minutes of uncertainty and confusion. You know what I mean? Like I don't. It seems like a slam dunk.
Well, I've never been approached, so it's not even something that's on my radar. I think I'm going to stick with the officiating just for a little bit. Get back to having some fun and seeing some people that I enjoy being with and stuff. And so,
what is your relationship with Dana? Did he text you and congratulate you or anything like that?
No, I haven't talked to Dana
in years.
Yeah, 7 years or so.
Okay,
been a long time.
Because he's bitching at least once per show about a judge or a ref. So you would think a Hall of Fame ref coming back would be a great thing, right?
Sometimes, you have people that just get mad at you or something like that. And they stay mad at you. I think Dana's still mad at me.
When's your next seminar? I know that when you're in Vegas, they're at Here Extreme. I think you did one at American Top Team recently.
Yeah.
When's the next one? Let's plug that for all the aspiring refs and judges.
Well, there's going to be I want to say it's the second week of January in Vegas. There will be it's going to be a consortium basically of where it's going to be Sean Wheelock, Jack Reese, and myself doing 1 day of MMA training, refereeing, judging 1 day, 1 day of bare knuckle boxing, and 1 day of boxing. And so there'll be a 3-day seminar being it's going to be, I believe, at the Orleans Hotel. And for 3 days, you can learn everything that you can think about when it comes to MMA, bare knuckle boxing, and the world of boxing. So Jack Reese being one of the premier referees in boxing for a long time. He's now, I think, just nominated for the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Sean Wheelock being the trainer for the ABC for bare knuckle boxing. So I believe that's going to be my next training, the second week of January.
Is that the MMA referee? Is that your baby?
No, that's a combination. We decided, hey, we would try to. My normal one is the command course, and it's a 3-day course. This is a 3-day course, but it's 3 days, 1 day boxing, 1 day bare knuckle, and 1 day of MMA.
Is there going to be a half a day dedicated to checking people's hands to see if they're broken before they go and fight?
It might be. I'll tell you what. You look at the bare knuckle boxing has really caught on, and it's amazing that you look at some of the people that are out there, and the guys like Mike Perry. I mean, it was just meant for someone like him. And I don't know how he doesn't break his hands, because I'll tell you what, he definitely hits everything. Because it used to be, we would say, man, you can't just hit someone's skull, you break your hand. Not if you're Mike Perry. He's special at it, so he's fun to watch.
Well, what I was alluding to was in Brazil, Lucas Almeida. Oh, yeah. He walked, when he weighed in, he had his hand was, like ballooned and swollen.
And he didn't use it.
Stung him. Yeah. And yes, exactly. And so it affected the betting line. People are still talking about it. And I know that sometimes the UFC, where they go, they commission themselves. I don't know exactly what's going on with the Brazilian Confederation, Federation, whatever. Maybe you can clear that up, and maybe you could tell the public, how did that slip through the cracks?
I honestly, here's the one thing I will tell you is that it's very difficult. I always try to make people understand that a ringside physician is he's in a horrible spot and a very difficult spot, because, when most people go to the doctor, they're telling them everything that is wrong. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, I hurt here and I got this pain here and all this stuff. And the doctor just goes, okay. And he tries to figure out, okay, what is the cause of it? And, gives them hopefully something that's going to help them. Well, in the world of fighting, when you have, they get a medical, but that medical doesn't mean that doctor who gave them the medical checked to see if there was a broken hand. You'll find that there are ringside physicians who will do certain things, because the fighter comes in, and the ringside physician asks him, how are you feeling? I'm great, 100%. You have any injuries? Nope, not one. And they just start going through this whole thing of, no, I'm fine, because they know I have to get to the fight and I have to get through you to get there. I'm not going to tell you anything. And so it's now upon the ringside physician to find those things. And it's not easy physically to find everything. And sometimes, they'll have a whole thing where, there's a very good ringside physician, been there forever in California, named Paul Wallace. And he will go through this whole thing of, he checks, and he will grab the fighter's hands, and he will take and bend their hand, press down on the metacarpals in the back of the hand, do all these things to see their reaction. Because, and I have watched fighters that I know have had bad hands, have him do that, and they'll just kind of look at him and stare. They won't make a sound. And you just look and you go, I know that hurt. But, it's a matter of, they're going to put up with that. And it's a difficult thing. Now, I can't say what the ringside physician there looked at with Almeida, but you could tell that, he had an injury somehow. And he obviously didn't use it in the fight. And it's something that they need to look at and say, okay, how did we miss this? Why did we miss this? And how are we going to make sure that those types of things don't happen again? One of the best, it's very difficult for people to understand, but Michael Bisping is a perfect example of, he had one eye. He couldn't see out of one of his eyes, but he made it through all those physicals because, he lied. And I don't blame him. And he had a system in place to know exactly certain things. And, there was ways of him getting past when someone would say, cover this eye, cover that eye. He had a way of figuring, how to, get the right, information, into that doctor's head. So the doctor said, yeah, he can see, but he couldn't. And so fighters are going to do everything they can to fool those doctors. Sometimes the doctors win, sometimes they don't.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, John, thanks as always for jumping on with us here on MMA Junkie Radio.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Our audience loves you. We love you. And we're glad to have you back in the sport. I also heard on the Weighing In podcast, you lost 30 pounds. So you're feeling lighter and spry and ready to get in there. And
42 pounds right now. I'm down.
42 you're up to.
42. Wow. Yep. So I'm feeling.
How'd you do it?
You know what? I started off. I went on a trip around the country basically with my wife. Just ate terribly and stuff. And I was like, I gotta lose weight. And so I went on a fast. And so I went on the fast. I did 10 days without eating, just water.
10?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Isn't it supposed to be 3 or 4 tops? You did 10?
But I just kept going. It was like, let me see. And finally, it got to the 10th day, and I did the 10th day, and my wife said, you're starting to get irritable. It's all right. I'll eat. And from that point, I have not eaten anything that's bad for me. Everything I'll eat, but I eat. In fact, today I'm doing a fast. I'm not eating today because every week, once a week, I'll do a fast for the day. I won't eat. And it's not hard to do. It's just something that I think it's healthy to do. And as I get older, and I'm definitely older, it's a matter of, I think you need to do everything you can to keep yourself down in weight and not be this behemoth that is carrying around extra weight you shouldn't have. So that's what I'm doing right now. I feel great. And this is part of the whole thing. This is why I said, I really feel good right now. It's the best I've felt in a long time. So, and that the whole diet thing is part of it.
I thought we were done, but we're not.
That's all right.
You went to Mount Rushmore, right?
I did.
Give me your current Mount Rushmore of MMA. Sorry that I got to limit it to 4, but what's your current Mount Rushmore of MMA? And then give me a current Mount Rushmore of women's MMA.
Wow. Mount Rushmore of MMA. So I look at it differently than other people, because most time people are going to just put fighters, and you've got to look and say, truthfully, who has helped the sport become the prominent sport that it is today. So as fighter wise, putting onto it, I would say that I have to put George St. Pierre would definitely be one that would be on there. Demetrius Johnson, Khabib, and probably John Jones. But if I was going to put people other than that on there, you got to put Dana White, because the fact that look, he's more popular than any fighter there is. He's take a look at I just saw him on 60 Minutes, and you look and you go, hey, he has driven this sport in a fashion that it is mainstream. He's let's be honest, $7.7 billion is what the UFC is getting. That's $1.1 billion a year for a TV deal. That's nuts. But there's a reason for it, and it's because of what he was been part of. Obviously the Fertittas were a big part of driving it in that direction, but when they left, he continued on, and he's only made it become more popular. And so I would have to put Dana White on there too. He's sitting probably in that top position over those other people. Women wise, it's pretty plain. You got to go with, I would say, Gina Carano is the first one that made women's MMA popular. She could fight. She was pretty. She was just a nice human being, and she helped get it going. Chris Cyborg is absolutely one of those people. Ronda Rousey made it huge. She would be on there. And if I was going to go with another one, it's got to be Amanda Nunes for everything that she's done.
Who's your Mount Rushmore of MMA refs?
Oh, there's none.
Oh man, okay. Big John's got to be on there for sure. I love Jason Herzog.
I love putting Goes in pickles.
That is a pickle.
I'll put Herb Dean in there as well. That last spot, man. I might go.
What about Andy Anderson? Remember when he was like leaning on the octagon, like 30 feet away, or what's the octagon? 30 feet. He was 25 feet away, just watching one of those early UFCs.
I think the last one I might go Mike Beltran.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, good stuff, guys. Great job. Goes with that one. And John, thank you again.
Let me say one thing for everyone out there real quick, because you brought up Mike Beltran at the end. Mike just had a surgery. He got sick again with the diverticulitis, and they had to put him back in the hospital. He had to have surgery. So please, for everyone out there, he's doing good, but please, when you're hitting your knees doing prayers at night, give Mike a little bit of a shout out to the man above and stuff, because he's going to be out for a little while. But just think of him and give him some prayers.
Will do. Thanks for telling us. I'll reach out and
appreciate it.
Wish him the best as well. He's one of the best in the business.
He's a great human being.
Yeah. Okay, John. Thanks again for the time.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
You take care.